very happy to have with me here, or not really with me, but via Zoom, Anna Virabyan, who's an artist who I've known for a few years and worked with in various different ways. And Anna is, like I am, very interested in these relationships between movement, becoming, and violence. So in this third piece, my third Arts Cabinet piece, I'll have a conversation with Anna about some key questions around these big themes, and at the same time we'll be showing some of Anna's amazing artwork as well as the artist at work, and we can see how Anna creates her art. So Anna, welcome very much.
Hello, Leona. Thank you so much for inviting me to the Art Cabinet. It's an honor for me to collaborate and share with experience and some artworks.
So first of all, I'd just like to ask you if you could say something about your art and how you approach your work.
So as an artist, I work in a watercolor medium. Also, I use charcoal and pencil to transfer my emotions and sensations. Not very often I can really explain what is happening. So art helps me to realize those things. I work with domestic violence survivors, I work with refugees, asylum seekers, and learning disability, trying to support and help them to overcome challenges through art expression, which is a very free act. You don't have to be an artist to draw. It doesn't matter what you draw and how good you are at it. It's most important that you are here, you took a pencil and you look at the paper as a space and you can just transfer your thoughts or emotions on a paper. And it's beautiful. It's very simple, but it's very powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know that feeling of creating something that you don't quite know what it is or how it happened or where it came from.
Yeah.
But it really does something. And I think what is really powerful about it is also doing it together with others, right?
Yes, it's true.
Then going also towards the theme of the session, of course, is these questions of movement and questions of becoming. I'd like to ask you how that sort of features in your work and what it means for you.
Movement, it's a main word for me because for quite a long time I felt stuck. I would start with when I just arrived to the refuge. Just few days after, I took a pencil and I tried to draw an apple, and it didn't work. I felt so unskilled because 9 years after university, I wasn't drawing at all. I was just at home and looking after family. And on the top of that, so much fears and it's unknown. Yeah, I felt really unconfident in my ability to create something. My mind was so negative and filled with so many doubts. So I just turned this paper, I closed my eyes and I went with the flow without thinking, what am I doing? How good am I at it? And all those questions just disappeared when I opened eyes and I absorbed the drawing, let's say movement on it from the distance. I saw shapes, I saw objects even there. Everything was already on a paper. I just needed to do a few more strokes on the top. Movement for me started with just steps, one step at the time. Now looking at the wall behind me with the works from the beginning till now, that makes me think how I love each of work, and each of them, they hold an experience and emotions. I am not judging them how good they are or how dark they are or how light they are. They're just behind my shoulders, they exist, and I'm grateful to each of these work. I see that I never really been stuck. I always moved one work after another. I never been really stuck. Yeah.
That's such an interesting thought, especially given the experience you've had of being an asylum seeker and in some ways being very much stuck, right?
Yeah.
As well as being in a situation of domestic violence where again you're stuck, but being able to look back on that and say, well, actually, I was always moving.
Just unbelievable, because at that period of time you never think that things happening.
There's also thinking there about this notion of becoming, right? So I've often thought about it as this kind of open potentiality of the unknown, of what might happen, and we don't know what we can do, what bodies can do, especially in particular relationships and so on. But what's really interesting is, because I've seen it as a kind of almost sort of forward looking thing, right? But the way you explain it here is almost the other way around, right? That becoming, that transformation that you went through is only appears, and the openness that in a way you had in being confined is only visible afterwards.
Absolutely. I would always look at my steps when I would just simply walk around. I would look down and I would see the fact that I'm moving. Also, very often I would look at the sky. The sky is not just on the top. It's this air, let's say, this space, and not just physical. It's all around you. I felt also still. This is a paradox, but when I would feel those both sensations, being still but also moving, this is the best thing I could have experienced in my life. It beyond words.
No, that relationship between movement and stillness, I think, is there's I think there's a real richness. The other thing that's at the same time going through it, which is the kind of the fear and the frustrations, it seems that those are inextricably attached to the stillness and the movement at the same time, right? Another question is about violence, speak about as well in the Arts Cabinet pieces. So do you want to say a little bit more about that, and also how it features in your art?
Thanks to you and Art Cabinet, because when whole week I was reviewing works from the different periods of this journey, I love them all. So I've realized the bad experience bring me some sort of strength. Violence for me started at my young age. I experienced as a child a civil war in a country where I was born, in Georgia. We've been robbed, and it was a very scary period. We left Georgia and we moved to Russia as refugees. I remember when neighbors would call police, and some 5 morning police officers would come and bang the door, and it's a police control, and we would be so scared. As a child, I remember, wow, it's like you want to hide under the bed. You feel guilty just for being here. Well, I experienced this domestic violence before, and that's probably for me was something normal. Then in my own family, it happened and it was really hard, because 15 years time I've spent with a person which I loved, and we've created a family, and we had dreams about the future, and we achieved so much. And this first waking up alarm rings, you don't want even to listen to them, like no. And then when life takes you to the stage where you have to make a decision, you have to leave it all and just go nowhere. It is the most hard choice which you can make, because it wasn't just me, there were 3 little children. Then after, of course, when you face the system that is not everything so pampery, set up yourself free and you will be free. It felt like I've made the right choice, but I felt so badly down. You fulfilled with such fears. Like, for instance, when I left and police took us to the refuge, suddenly I lost the rights. So I've been told to go to Russian embassy and be deported, basically, with kids. And this is where you have to pick you up and go through the whole process. And I'm really grateful to England that it gives you this opportunity to seek for your rights, seek for truth. I felt that if I will go home, I won't be here at all. So I've started. this journey. And violence for me is not only physical, mainly I've suffered psychological, mental, as inside and outside. Each letter, each appointment, where you have to prove that you are vulnerable and you are scared and you need support. I met understanding, maybe because of I was also open, I had trust. Very often you will hear a word no. That's just not possible. Not now. And it's unknown if it will be yes at all. And also I would say my kids, because of they've been so naughty and because of challenge, you can't just sit and cry about the situation. You have to stand up, you have to find ways for them to keep them safe and well.
One of the things you said when we had an earlier conversation was about how, especially when you were in the asylum procedure, so in a way, there was kind of a step towards freedom that then became just another encounter with confinement and insecurity and so on. But yes. How you felt that there you weren't just talking to a person, right, that you had to justify yourself and who you were and that you were vulnerable, as you said, but a whole system.
Yes, for me, a call for the second, even first interview, it was like you are going to speak with huge giant system, yes, which you have to walk in and speak. It will depend whole your life and not just yours, those 3 children's life. But never ever any fear stopped me. I would still go. Yeah. When I came to the room, I saw a person, I saw eyes. I was talking from the heart, just looking in eyes mostly and answering questions. Just question comes and answer, straight away would pop out.
It's what is just so disturbing about it, or one of the things, I mean there's many, but is that the kind of the ways in which so many different forms of violence kind of intersect, right? Where you're facing this violent system as well as all the little daily, also unseen violences that are part of that, right? About having to justify yourself and having to do this and having to do that and having to ask, those fleeing violence, right? And having to go through that process again by having to talk about it, right? By justifying yourself in that regard as well. It seems like as a whole, and it seems in your art, as you've gone through the years, it's sort of changed as well into this sort of more open and more colourful.
I would draw the complex. It always felt like you have to pass through something which is so complicated and there is a light in the end. And just before I received the rights, I made this colorful painting, and then I realized I came out and looked at the things through the other side, and they've been so light and colorful, and this transformation happened. I realized that I'm free. When I received rights, it felt like reality changed. Air became so much lighter. All the dreams which I was dreaming about, it felt like I can do it now. I can make it. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I cry often. I allow myself now to cry when it comes. So yeah, I'm absolutely right. I'm all right. I'm happy.
Final question is about silence. Could you say something about that?
This is the best bit. I would drop children to school, and I would hate to go back to the refuge because this environment would keep remind where am I. I would just take walks and explore just what is around. I would spend time in the parks. I would observe. Everything would become a shape with a range of colors, how light behaves when sun is out, and it feels all the air, even you can, it's like amazing painting of great creator, and you are just inside it, you are part of it. then suddenly I would think, where's my situation now? Like, nowhere. You are just in such a space of beauty and silence. Nothing is in there. I mean, mind activity is out. Nature is who we are, and when you are becoming one with it, you can just enjoy. And I found this silence in within myself, and then everything becoming so quiet.
It's been really wonderful, as well as painful, actually, to hear your talk about your experiences in your art.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I
Thank
think that's
you.
a fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you too, Leonie.